What's up, you guys? It's dawn. I've been really busy all night. I'm sharpening this baseball bat. There's a lot of stuff we gotta talk about. We gotta talk about it right now. There we go. Sorry for the theatrics. Don't burn yourself on the candles. My name is Trez. Welcome back to the Horrorable Show, and I got something to confess to you. Geeks is over there sleeping. I think my next door neighbor is a vampire. And I think these things are immediate. This is immediate DEFCON 5 reaction from me. You might ask yourself, Trez, how many people this month do you think you've accused of being a vampire? Maybe 3. But who's counting? I'm not really counting. And you might be asking yourself, Trez, I heard your brother was in the hospital. Yeah, Jizz has been, he's been in for a little while now. He was just doing stuff that was really vampire-y, you know? But the doctor said he's gonna be out of the ICU in a couple of months. But just hang in there, bro. Your ribs are they're gonna be just fine. So yeah, I've been sharpening all my wooden spoons. I got a bat that I'm gonna sharpen. Yeah, because I plan on going over to my neighbor's house and stabbing him in the chest. So, because here at the Horrorable Show, I feel like we've developed the double triple use this in a conundrum foolproof vampire test. And every time you use the double triple use this in a conundrum foolproof vampire test, you have 3 signs to make it out alive. Sign 1, you're gonna kind of approach all activity from all around you. You're gonna be very skeptical, you're gonna be very on your game, and you're gonna be very alert. So my next door neighbor, I've seen him a couple times. I've known him for a little while. But the other day I saw him walking with a walker, and he got both hips replaced. Yeah, so when he was just walking too well for somebody that got his hip replaced, and that's very vampire to me. If you're gonna come around me doing some really vampire-ish stuff, I'm gonna call you out on it. Rule 1 we established. We established that we have a vampire. We have vampirism activities. We have vampiristic. Very vampiristic. Alright, so rule 2. You've watched movies, I've watched movies. I feel like we're experts on vampires, right? So we all know that vampires love chocolate. So what I did, I went out and got some chocolate-covered cherries, and I left it right in front of his apartment doorstep, right? I knocked on the door, and then I ran back into my apartment. I heard the door open, and the chocolates are gone. So that's a surefire test, right? But what he didn't know is that I put laxatives in all the chocolates. So humans 1, vampires 0. Yeah, enjoy that, you damn creature of the night. Rule 3. I don't know if you knew this, but vampires hate bees. So what I did, I broke into his apartment. I was trying to find vampire paraphernalia. Maybe I'd find him sleeping in the coffin, maybe I'd find him hanging from the ceiling, but it just turns out he was gone. I checked everything. I checked his fridge. It was very nice. It was a very nice apartment, very well furnished. Very, very vampire thing too. Like if your apartment's too nice, very vampire-y. He had some ramen noodles. I used the bathroom. It was cool. I drank a little bit of his milk. I was like, I might as well throw a couple hives in here. Throw a couple hives in there and just see how everything works out. So I waited outside my door, giggling. I heard him approach. I heard him enter, and then I heard screams. Oh, well, you don't like bees? You don't like bees? You don't like getting stung? And then I heard screams. Oh, you don't like bees? Oh, somebody doesn't like bees? Vampire doesn't like bees? And then I heard the ambulance. Oh, you going to the hospital because you don't like bees? So what I did is that I burned a CD of Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River. And it was like 14 times in a row on the CD. And I just taped it to his door. Because make me a playlist, you blood-sucking son of a bitch. You might be asking yourself, what are the telltale signs of people that might be a vampire? Anybody that wears jeans. Anybody that wears glasses. Anybody that likes Chuck Norris. Anybody that uses freedom of speech. Anybody that likes apples. Anybody that eats food. Anybody that hates garlic. Anybody that eats onions. Anybody that does laundry. Anybody that's well-groomed. Anybody that smells good. Anybody that talks about their dreams. Anybody that dreams frequently. Anybody that really cares about you. Anybody that doesn't care about you. Anybody that wears shoes. Anybody that doesn't wear shoes. Anybody that goes to Walmart. Anybody that shops at Walmart. Anybody that eats free samples at Walmart. Anybody that just stresses you out in general. They're probably a vampire. Anybody that likes balloons. So 2 weeks ago on Instagram, I asked everybody what their favorite vampire movies were. And if there was any vampire movies that I hadn't seen to definitely recommend. Like that Leprechaun. Alright, so let's see a couple movies that were recommended by you guys, the friends, the viewers. Bram Stoker's Reflective Dracula. Light the video by candlelight. Great idea. Great idea. Starring Gary Oldman. I hear mixed things about this. Big fan of Francis Ford Coppola. Love the Godfather movies. Apocalypse Now is in my top 10. Love that movie. But yeah, some people say Keanu Reeves, his acting in this movie is a little shoddy, to say the least. But I'm a big fan of Gary Oldman. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this before, but my favorite Gary Oldman movie is Leon the Professional. Nosferatu the Vampire. I watched this today. Talk about atmospheric, talk about creepy, talk about subtle. Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski are in these, and Isabelle Adjani. Oh my God, from Possession. I am in love with this woman. But I really enjoyed this movie. Let me tell you, I enjoyed this movie. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Roman Polanski, Fearless Vampire Killers. Alright, so this is what got Roman Polanski the job to direct Rosemary's Baby. It was his last movie that he put out before William Castle and the studio found old Roman to direct Rosemary's Baby, and I had not got a chance to watch this. I picked this up used for a pretty good price. I know these Warner Archive releases can get a little pricey, so I'm glad I got this for a good price. Let me in, but most importantly, let the right one in, which I do have on DVD, but I do not have it on Blu-ray. This is the only one I have on Blu-ray because it was the first that I saw of the two, and I have to say, this one seems to get a lot of hate. I do agree that the original is better, but this one wasn't bad. And I think the most original thing about this is the car crash that Matt Reeves does. I'm excited to see what he does in the new Batman movies, if they ever come out, if movies ever start happening again. Yeah, I really thought this was pretty great the first time I watched it, even though it's not a shot-for-shot remake, but it's very similar. But yeah, I can cut it some slack. I feel, life is easy. Life is easy. What does that even mean? The next one is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I heard so many great things. I believe this is an Iranian movie. The first, no, I'm not going to say the first of its kind, but one that's getting so much love. I know this was on Netflix. This was a lot of streaming services, but I still have never watched this, and I wanted to get a Blu-ray release. Studio Canal put this out, and I believe this is a Canadian release. This is actually really hard to find on Blu-ray now. Maybe it was just at the time when I was looking, but I hear this is fantastic. A slow burn, creepy thriller. So now we're going to get into my personal favorites. We have 30 Days of Night. Talk about vicious, brutal, ruthless monstrosities of vampires in this movie. And let me tell you, the first time I watched it, I was like, Jesus, these vampires are brutal. But I think that's what really makes me love this movie. I got so many recommendations for this movie from all my Instagram followers, and like I said, if you're not a follower on my Instagram, check it out. We do weird stuff. We talk. This movie came out so under the radar, and I think it breathed new light into the whole vampire mythos. I know they came out with a sequel, but it was kind of shoddy. But I really do appreciate and love the original 30 Days of Night. And you can't talk about classic vampire movies without this 80s brilliant The Lost Boys. This movie, I think, is so iconic to so many people. So many people care about this movie. I'm surprised there hasn't been like a triple deluxe, like Shout Factory or Scream Factory or Arrow release of this movie, because it's so beloved. Because you kind of hit them on all fronts. People love the soundtrack to this movie. People love the direction of this movie. People love the actors. Whether you have 80s nostalgia in your heart, which I do because I was born in 91, and I was the generation after these kind of movies came out. So Holds a special place in my heart. The cast holds a special place in my heart. You got Corey Feldman, you got Corey Haim, you got Kiefer Sutherland. It's fantastic any way that you cut it. We have John Carpenter's Vampires. This movie meant so much to me when I was a kid because I'm a diehard fan of John Carpenter. I love his horror movies so much. I loved his take on vampires. I loved how James Woods plays James Woods in this movie, and that he just doesn't care. I love when they get speared and then drug out of the house and then they just burst into flames. I think it is so cool. I thought it was so original, and I love John Carpenter, and it makes me really miss that he's not making movies anymore, because I really think even before The Ward and post The Ward, I feel like he could have made some great movies in between there. I like Ghost of Mars. Is that it? I like Ghost of Mars. It's probably a horrible opinion, but I like Ice Cube, and I like Natasha Henstridge. Story time. So this next movie came out in '96. So I was 5 years old, right? I remember my parents were divorced, so I remember going to my dad's apartment, and he was going to get something on pay-per-view. He was going to get a movie on pay-per-view. The only couple other movies that I had watched that I can recollect, I saw Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the movie theater, and I saw Mortal Kombat, the first one, in the movie theater when I was a child. Those are the two only movies I remember seeing before this movie. The original, From Dusk Till Dawn. And I don't know how you guys feel about a 5-year-old seeing the original From Dusk Till Dawn, but I remember, I'm not the smartest man. I've never really been the smartest man, but I remember thoroughly knowing everything in this movie. Like, it wasn't over my head, even as like a 5-year-old. So back in the day, what you had to do is that you had to go to your cable box, call the number on the cable box, and then select a certain channel where they were showing the pay-per-view movie, right? So we'd call them up and just be like, hey, I want to watch From Dusk Till Dawn at 5:30, where it was showing. It'd be like 4 o'clock. Let's do the 5:30 one, you know? And they'd be like, okay. So my 7-year-old brother, 2 years older than me, he called and accidentally ordered Lawnmower Man 2, which is widely known as maybe the worst movie ever made. Awful. So we had to sit through Lawnmower Man 2 to get to From Dusk Till Dawn. Let me tell you, it blew my socks off, and it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Because you get caught up, because you have this almost like true crime-esque beginning of this movie where this family is getting kidnapped. 2 maniacs. They're crossing the border, they finally get to Mexico, and you think, oh, maybe the cops are going to show up and kind of bust them in this bar. No. Vampires, bro. Mad vampires everywhere. People start turning, people start getting killed, blood's going everywhere. Quentin Tarantino's got a foot in his mouth. I don't know what's going on, but I loved it. It was weird. It was amazing. It was so... Quentin Tarantino played himself. I'm sorry, Quentin. But all kinds of stuff. There was Tom Savini was in there, and he had a penis gun. And I was like, dude, is that stuff real? I was so young. I was like, is that real? Can we get a penis gun? My dad was like, no, they don't exist, but you still can't get a penis gun. I was like, all right, cool. So, it had such a special impact on me, and it was the penis gun that got away. It had such a profound impact on me from the Tarantino Rodriguez crime/horror world, and that was really the first time I was introduced to your Tom Savini's. Like, after seeing From Dusk Till Dawn, I was watching Dawn of the Dead and movies like that. I was like, dude, that's Sex Machine from Dusk Till Dawn. They're like, no, dude, that's Tom Savini. His name isn't Sex Machine. I'd be like, interesting. From Dusk Till Dawn 2, horrible movie, but it is good cheese. I thoroughly recommend it. The story is good enough for you to just sit down, watch it with your half-grandpa, You know, you're gonna have a good time either way. They probably won't like it, but you'll enjoy it. Come on. All right. So the time has come, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite vampire movie of all time has to be Fright Night. I love this movie so much. I bought a DVD copy of this movie probably when I was about 13 or 14, and then fell in love with it. They used to show it in the summertime when I was a kid on AMC, and I remember watching it for the first time on TV. It was probably like 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I remember I hit record on the VCR like a half hour in, so I would just keep on replaying like Fright Night without the first half hour. So every time I pop this in, I'm like totally enthralled with like the first 30 minutes, because it's like, oh yeah, forgot, oh yeah, oh yeah, Macho Man style. I love the cast. I love Roddy McDowall. I love Chris Sarandon. This hits me right into the 80s nostalgia. I wish the second movie would get a Blu-ray release that is not like Region B and came out like 25 years ago. What this movie really does for me is that the writer-director Tom Holland really hits it on the head with blending the vampires of yesteryear with the vampires of today. I'm still considering this today. And as you could tell, all the movies on my list are 1970s and above. And what I think this one does is that it takes classic vampire stories and vampire tropes and then brings it into the modern era. And I know the Lost Boys did that too, but I feel like this one did that a little bit better. I know the Lost Boys is a little bit more stylized, and a lot of people enjoy that film a whole lot more. But I can't say enough good things about Fright Night. I really can't. It's hands down my favorite vampire movie of all time. Jimmy Fallon, totally a vampire. Scarlett Johansson, demon of the night. Meatloaf, the singer, you know where he got that name from? Drinking blood. Marlon Brando, before he died, total vampire with the capital V, capital Pyre. The dude that played Steve Urkel, Jaleel White, is that his name? Jaleel White? Vampire. Anybody that likes the Brady Bunch, the whole cast of the Brady Bunch, vampires. Because what they did, and they would just feed off Alice. So, like you really don't know your peers, you really don't know your friends, and you really don't know your family. Always be watching. You don't even know yourself. And that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for sticking here with me. I got these. I'm gonna put these down. I'm gonna at least put one of them down. Yeah, so the sun's about to go down here soon, and got some vampire killing to do. Like I said, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. If you don't, why don't you just go ahead and like, comment, subscribe anyways? Because, man, you might change your mind. Thank you guys for taking this journey with me, and wish me luck. It's gonna be a long night. I'm gonna kill the stab him in his heart, and then I'm gonna stab him in his face. Update, my brother Jizza just got a chest transplant. Get well soon, bro. Keeks, are you a vampire? You're a vampire if you don't respond. You're a vampire if you go to sleep. Keeks. And of course, I was like 5. Tom Savini's in the movie. He shows up with a whip and a penis gun. And I asked my brother, who was 7 at the time, I was like, do they really make penis guns? And he was like, yeah, they make penis guns. Then I asked my dad, he's like, no, dude, they don't make penis guns. I was like, can we get that? He was like, no, dude, they don't make it. I'm like, and then he was like, what are you going to do with the penis gun? I was like, I don't know, man. I was going to just wear it.